Mr. Gaurav Gogoi. Which side, left or right? What's really nice to eat in Parliament?
My favorite is the bhalla papdi chaat.
How much do you pay for it?
30 rupees maybe.
That's it. Mr. Gogoi, you have a very rich political legacy. You're aware of that, right?
I've learnt a lot of my values from my father.
Interpretation that there are knives out within the party as well? No.
Not at all. Nonetheless, politics is by profession quite ruthless and you need to have a thick skin. Well, the unpolitical view was that if you could survive in Congress, you could survive anywhere. And we all see Himanta Biswa Sarma for his words, for his actions. I think he's a man who can only stay in power because he's done so many crimes. He can't stay outside of power.
You listen to Punjabi songs?
Yeah, I love Punjabi songs.
Which
Having
one?
grown up in Delhi, I think many would, I used to be part of my college Bhangra troupe. You know, what's the term in Delhi, Preeti?
What? Tell me.
Tujhe pata hai ki mera baap kaun hai?
you know that, huh?
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Gogoi, one would have thought that a third-time MP would have had a bigger bungalow because you're entitled, aren't you?
Preeti, I'm a simple man. I have simple needs. If the government wants to allot me a bungalow, they can. I'm quite happy and quite satisfied where I am right now.
So, it's that you haven't asked or they haven't given it to you? Because you're entitled is all I'm saying. Third-time MPs would usually in Delhi have a bigger bungalow.
Well, it's for them to allot.
So, they haven't.
And as I said, I haven't asked as a third-time MP. I'm quite satisfied where I am. It's I have very simple needs. Being from Assam, we don't have the kind of volume of guests and visitors that an MP from UP or Delhi or Haryana would have. And bungalows are also in Delhi cumbersome to maintain. You get monkeys, you've got unkept gardens. So
no grudges?
Absolutely not.
All right. And they haven't offered?
I haven't asked. They haven't offered. Maybe because I haven't asked.
Okay. All right. But welcome to Unpolitics, Gaurav Gogoi.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you're used to these long, winding, very rich introductions. So if you allow me, I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself to our listeners.
Well, as I started with, I said I'm quite simple. I'm quite focused. I'm quite dedicated to my work, and I try to, according to others, create a balance between work and life.
No talk of third-time MP, political legacy, with your father being the longest-serving chief minister of Assam. None of that you want to speak
Well, I
of?
think it's more about values.
And the current, sorry, I'll just say. And now being Assam Congress president.
Well, these responsibilities will come and go. What will remain steady is your ideology. What will remain steady are your family values. What will remain steady is your commitment to the people. And responsibilities will come, responsibilities would go, responsibilities will change. There'll be losses, there'll be victories, but doesn't change why I got into this profession in the first place.
Why did you get into this profession?
This profession allows you to create deep, meaningful impact in society. Often that gets translated into development, which means building roads and flyovers and hospitals. But as I realized more and more, as I've understood this medium or this vehicle more, which is that it really impacts society and people at a much more fundamental, deeper level. One of the things that I hear from people is that they're happy to see a strong, vibrant opposition because they don't want to live in an ecosystem of fear. They don't want to live in an environment of monopoly. They want the freedom to express their views. And I think that's that kind of sense that we're giving as an opposition, that there is hope to those who feel anxious. I think that's far more powerful than, of course, the important but necessary tangible work. But understanding this, that only those who are elected to power do have the ability to build those roads and flyovers. But that doesn't mean those who sit in opposition have any less responsibility towards society.
Mr. Gogoi, you have a very rich political legacy. You're aware of that, right? But
yes, of course. I'm very grateful for that also. I've learned a lot of my values from my father, and I've learned a lot about the Congress party. I learned a lot about Assam from him, and I try to be a modern, younger version of him.
What was the unpolitical view on your own party that you have learned? And don't give me the role that it's a party which is built on an ideology, which is, like I
Well,
said, the unpolitical view.
well, the unpolitical view was that if you could survive in Congress, you could survive anywhere.
Why did he say that?
Well, like any, I think because it's such a democratic party where people just express their opinions, they feel free to criticize, they feel free to have a different view. So often you would have different points of views. Your own views would get challenged in an open space. You'll have to defend your own views and your beliefs as well. So I think some of our harshest critics of my position would be in my party, saying that I don't agree with how you're working in Assam, or I think this needs to change. But it all comes with, as I said, from an intention that we want the party to be better. I mean, if you go back to the history, right from the earliest days of freedom struggle, there were splits, there was different camps, different ideologies, different thoughts. So I think maybe that's why he said that if you could survive in Congress, you could survive
So not
anywhere.
the interpretation that there are knives out within the party as well. No.
Not at all. Nonetheless, politics is by profession quite ruthless, and you need to have a thick skin. Uh, so that you have to keep that in mind. But more important, as I said to begin with, is that while you understand the environment can be quite abrasive and confrontational, you have to realize what you're in there for. Because nobody wants to be in a confrontational environment, but you're willing to survive that, endure that, and face that only because you have a far larger goal on your mind.
You're very young, Mr. Gogoi. I would think, what, 42? And you fought your first election much younger. Um, was this something that you always wanted to do? Was that go and follow your father's footsteps? Or was there a moment of epiphany, which some of us do have, that this is my destiny?
No, I think I was very much interested in public service. That's something that was a value which was very close to me, and that's why, if I look back, that my first step into the world of into the professional world was actually a step in the corporate world, and I just realized after the initial few years that it wasn't giving me the kind of satisfaction that I wanted. And I think that was the epiphany, that it was not about the world, politics, corporate world for me, which at that, to a young person, was very exciting. I was reading a lot of management books. I was reading about CEOs. I was reading about how companies were turning around themselves through smarter strategies. I was reading books on IBM and Pepsi and Apple. It was very inspirational for me. And my first dream was to be a consultant, to work with companies to make their balance sheets look better or turn around or help them do something innovative. But when I realized that that wasn't giving me a sense of deep, meaningful satisfaction, and I took a step away and I left that world and I joined a small nonprofit, and which worked with grassroots organizations across India. And it is when I went to a village in Rajasthan for a week and worked and saw the kind of work that smaller NGOs are doing, and saw the kind of impact that they were having. That gave me, in 10 days, a much more meaningful joy that I had in the previous 2 years of the corporate world. And I think from then it just became an organic process, which initially started with grassroots activism, nonprofit, studying nonprofit management, doing internships in different organizations across the world, with medical charities, with educational charities, and then actually realizing that politics gives you the medium to make those changes at a far wider scale. But only now, after having sitting in 10 years in power, I realize that you have to be elected into power also if you want to implement those changes. But as I said, the being in opposition has also helped me realize that there is more than the tangible development that politicians have a role to play.
So, someone who studied, and correct me if I'm wrong, public administration at the NYU, New York University, then you worked in the corporate world where
No, I
Airtel,
worked in the corporate world before
before you
NYU.
went to
Yeah,
NYU.
yeah,
So, Airtel first,
yeah.
then you went to NYU,
Yeah.
and then Parva was the NGO
So
that you
Airtel
worked.
was the my corporate entry. Prava was my exit from the corporate world into
And
a
then,
non-profit. And then NYU was like, okay, let me understand this through an academic lens and deepen my understanding. And therefore,
So
do a
when you walked
master's in
into
that.
NYU, you knew
Pretty much, pretty
that you were
much.
going to be a
At that
politician.
time, no, not at that time. I was still wanted to be in the non-profit world. So from being the head of a private company at the time of NYU, where I wanted to be was work in a World Bank project, worked in the ADB, worked in a big, like maybe something like the Gates Foundation, and that's why I was arming myself with a degree to work essentially maybe with the Gates Foundation, World Bank, or a big Indian NGO.
Mr. Gogoi, do you watch films? Bollywood interests you at all?
Bollywood, absolutely. Netflix, always. I just finished watching The Last of Us on
Yeah.
Apple TV. Bollywood, I still like the older, the around the films that came around Gangs of Wasipur, Article 15.
Right.
The new ones which are more about special effects and you know like the Bahubali 1, 2 is just
That doesn't excite you.
it doesn't. I mean, sometimes I wish I'd rather have time to go and watch the movies. I grew up watching like Amar Akbar Anthony or a Kishore Kumar movie like Half Ticket and Agnipat, the older version.
So new
So
current favorites.
in this current in this current actually I mean, there was a movie in which Kriti Sanon is an air hostess and she plants a coup,
Crew, I think. I
maybe
like.
with Tabu and Kareena Kapoor. I
Yeah.
think she's there, and
You like
then
that one.
yeah, I think that was smart. It was small, and then and the inspector who's that, who is also from Chandigarh, who's a singer, who's just
I
performed
don't.
with Ed Sheeran. He's the singer Diljit
Diljit. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Diljit
yeah.
Dosanjh.
Which film has he done?
He's
Is there
in
a
Crew
film? He's
also.
in Crew. Okay, I haven't seen the film, but okay. Um, any favorite actors?
As I said, I do like Diljit.
Diljit.
He has a good sense of comic.
Also shares your politics somewhere. You might.
I don't know. I don't.
He might deny it.
I don't know. I listen to his songs more than I watch his
You listen to
movies.
Punjabi songs.
Yeah, yeah. I love Punjabi songs.
Which
Having
one?
grown up in Delhi, I think many would. I used to be part of my college Bhangra troupe.
Really, you know how to do the bhangra
Kind of.
better
Yeah.
than the bihu.
Well, now they're both the same. I think now I might do a bihu better than Bhangra, but back in college, I was definitely doing the Bhangra more. I was the college choreographer for my choreography team, and yeah, so just being in Delhi,
No, I hear you.
then
You enjoy
having
dancing.
you know, you just at that time it was all about Daler Mehndi and whatever Jazzy B and all of
You
that.
still listen to it?
Well, now I start listening to Sidhu Moosewala, some Punjabi rap.
Oh Lord, that's a revelation.
So
Okay.
that's just nice,
Punjabi rap. And you get the words.
Well, you get the sense of the words, right? You get a sense of words. In fact, like that's my aim in Parliament also, that along with speaking in Hindi and English, I'm able to incorporate a little bit of Urdu and a little bit of Punjabi because some of the words they have a richness that even Hindi doesn't capture. And there are some words in Urdu that which just when they
Give
when
me
they
one
get
line in
combined together.
Punjabi.
साढ़े गल कर रहे हैं.
Not bad. Not bad. Okay. But, talking about Bollywood, what do you make of Nepo kids? And I hope you don't miss the irony in that.
Well, I think India is a country of networks, right?
Okay.
We get our jobs through networking. Whether in any profession, business, and that's how. Do you know someone who knows someone who knows someone? It starts from getting, your kid into school,
Right.
to getting your kid into college, to get your first job, and then, so it just so. Some of them are extremely talented. I think Ranbir Kapoor is talented. I think Shraddha Kapoor is talented. And again, in the end, you want talent, right? That's what's important.
Why I
And
said the irony is because you're a Nepo kid.
sure, but as I said, I'm quite grateful because I learned so much. I mean, where else? I mean, you tell me, having studied science, did my undergraduate in engineering, did my initial professional world in corporate world, in grassroots activism, NGOs, and having studied, where else would I have learned about political values, political ideologies, election management, working with grassroots workers, had my father not been there? And I think that's one of the key reasons why at 42, I'm both the deputy leader and a party president, because I've managed to soak in a lot which initially would take a lifetime to understand. And I'm quite grateful. And as I said, I live by those values, and I try to, even though my father is not here, I try to ensure that those values still get represented through my work.
You do, in Delhi, you've grown up in Delhi, right? So in Delhi, there was a term that one would call all the kids who came from political families or bureaucracy, the Baba Log. Wait, did you know?
You know what's the term in Delhi,
What?
Preeti?
Tell me.
तुझे पता है कि मेरा बाप कौन है?
you know, you know that, huh?
Absolutely. But but
Did you use it?
hardly. Only
But you did.
only
So-
once when I got stopped by a traffic policeman.
You used it.
But they didn't care because it was somebody from Assam, and
Kaun?
people in Delhi.
Tarun Gogoi kaun?
But people in Delhi like Northeast kahan hai, Assam, what is this? कोई दिल्ली वाला होता तो respect भी करते. But by and large, I never flaunted my father's
that
background.
could get you into trouble on social media. Gaurav Gogoi used his father's name with a traffic constable to get away with it.
Well, I was in college then, and as I said, it didn't work. But by and large, people who know me know that I've never flaunted my father's identity because people would just treat you differently. So, in fact, I used to often tell people that my father works in government, and I would, never reveal his name. And when people, obviously, as Indians, we're all curious. We want to know what your father is doing, and I just used to kind of block and stop that question. So even where I was working, people wouldn't realize, and I would naively defend like, yeah, I don't know him. There's no connection, because I just want to be taken for who I am and make my own identity.
But Mr. Gogoi, is there somewhere down the line an acceptance and that there's a lot of privilege that came with the likes of you, the likes of Mr. Gandhi, who's in the Congress, and that's possibly also stemmed a fair amount of resentment. Those who got it easier, it's a privilege, and that weight of that privilege, I'm sure you've taken the last 10 years to carry. Do you understand that?
The privilege is not to flaunt. The privilege is the responsibility. Because what you've been taught, you should not forget where you've come from. My father comes from a small village in Jorhat, and he was initially a student volunteer, and he was a municipal councillor in his first term. That's where he comes from. That's where my roots are. My roots are in that town in Assam, not in his, the last title that he held. And as I said, the privilege is of having learned from your parents. And the privilege is those values that you've learned and the wisdom. So I think with privilege comes responsibility, and it's not something to flaunt.
Nobody's blaming you for it.
Sure.
This is where you come from. So I'm sure. But do you accept that there could be resentment among the masses in India to look at some who got it easier, and that initially the BJP also went with it?
No,
Dynasty, there was.
Absolutely, people have the right to feel that that they have slogged, they've worked very hard, and they've not achieved their goal. Yet someone who comes from a privileged background has reached that milestone earlier. I think it's very right for people to feel that. And as I said, that at the end, we are all responsible for our own journeys.
True.
And I'm responsible for the journey that I am on.
Well, you're right, and we're also living in a country which is of extremes because there are so many that come from so little, and
Yeah.
understandably those emotions get leveraged
Absolutely.
politically as well. But it's good to know because you accept it and you understand it, and you do understand that you have to maybe work harder.
As I said, I'm answerable to myself and to what the goals that I've set out to be for myself. And on this road, there would be people who at some point would support us, at some point would be angry with us, and they are justifiably so they will be justified in doing so. I don't think we'll always will carry the affections of people, but as long as I stay committed and I remember what I got into this, I don't get carried away by successes. I don't get dismayed by failures. As I said, I'm answerable to myself. In the end, I have to look myself in the mirror and remember that do I remember what I learned? Do I remember why I got here? And I think that's important. And I completely understand people, where they come from, what they might feel, and whether it's resentment, whether it's any other form of feeling. I completely understand it.
Do you remember ever? Because when we go back and look into our childhood, there is always a moment here or there that you remember. Do you remember, or later on in life, when you, because you spoke of people getting angry, your father getting angry at you?
Getting angry at
Yeah,
me.
yeah, about something.
My earliest memories are me making fun of him because his Hindi was not that great.
Yours is
Well, I grew up in Delhi. He did not, right?
right.
So he came to Delhi much later. So while we were, in a North Avenue flat, close, let's say close to Gold Market, for those who don't know where North Avenue is. So we would go to Gold Market. He was maybe at that time a second or third term MP. We would go to, get a haircut for 10 rupees in one of those alleys of Gold Market, and he would speak in broken Hindi, and me being very young, I was maybe like 7, 8 years old. So my earliest memories are me coming back and telling my
The
mother.
Golgappas at Gold Market. Did you eat those?
Golgappas are my favorite.
Right.
The Kaleva,
Yeah, the Kaleva Golgappas.
lassi is very good. The Gold Market from Bengal, Bengali sweets is very good. I'm a big foodie,
Ah.
so thank God I'm.
Don't look at you work out then.
Well, I don't eat as much now. I think it's about quality and not quantity.
Fair point.
So I make sure that I eat.
So you remember
something
making
rich.
fun of your father then?
Yeah, like remember coming
Yeah.
back home, imitating him in front of my mother, my sister, and we would all just have laugh, and he would also appreciate, and those
Never
are
get angry at you.
What's there to get angry about?
But has he ever gotten angry at you about something? Maybe later on when you were in politics.
No, actually not. I mean, he was always like, make your own mistakes.
Was he disappointed with you ever?
No, I mean, in fact, I would again say he was secretly hoping that I would join politics, but never would voice that or express that or demand that or urge that. So I think when I eventually did join politics, where I thought like, okay, now I feel right that I want to, take the membership of the Congress party. I thought he was secretly very proud, and I think he was going around telling everyone like, see, I told you so. The minute he joined public service, I knew 3, 4 years later he'll come to politics. So I think he was secretly proud, and I think had he been here, he was at one point the president of the state Congress, a position which I'm holding now. I think he would have been very proud to see me now also.
I think you'd also be very proud with the last election that you won, because
Well, absolutely. I think
that was a tough one.
He started his elections from Jorhat, although he switched to another constituency from where I and my uncle also fought from. But circumstances were such that there was delimitation done only in Assam. And out of the 14 Lok Sabha seats, only my seat was
changed.
split into two. Everybody else had very minor modifications. So I had to shift to a new seat to my father's hometown, but his original first Lok Sabha seat. And I think one of the reasons for my victory, it would be the people's goodwill towards my late father.
Was there disappointment in the family? And why I say that is because it's in traditional Indian terms. With who you married, was there disappointment at all because you married a British citizen, while politically many would have thought you'd bring home a home girl?
You know what? That's sometimes I'm very stubborn.
So there was resentment in the
No,
beginning.
that's
Or not resentment, but
No, I'm telling you something else.
okay, sorry. Yeah.
So the only advice they thought, because I got married in 2013 October, and elections were in 2014 April, right? For my first election. So I said like, why not, get married after your elections? So at least this would not be an electoral issue, and this would not be a distraction, and people would talk about what you've been doing in the constituency for the past few years. And me being the stubborn, person that I am sometimes, I said, well, now I'll just do the opposite. I was flexible, but now that you told me so,
Who told you?
My parents or my mother.
Your mom.
But I think maybe my father through my mother, because the mother often plays the role of messenger between the father and the son. So I don't know. But then I said, well, now what, are we going to get married before? And then she's going to come to Assam, and she's not going to remain hidden. She's going to be, visible in public. People are going to see who I am. And if they want to accept me for who I am, they will accept me. And my understanding was that people would actually welcome us. And that's essentially what happened. But other than that, besides any normal parent's anxiety towards who your son is dating, I don't think there was anything beyond that.
But you speak of a little bit of apprehension from your parents of wanting to get maybe marry after your election. what did she think of all of this? Because she's a British citizen. Did she know that you wanted to join politics? That this is what she was in for?
Well, actually, sometimes I blame her for joining politics, because she was interested in politics far before me. Uh, Having grown up in the UK, she used to be a young member of the Labour Party then, and she'd done some political canvassing from local MPs, and we started dating each other when I was, looking at World Bank, Asian Development Bank. So staying over. So when we first got to know each other, I said, "Yeah, never mind. Don't worry. I'm not going into politics. I'd
You told
rather
her that.
do." Yeah, I said, "I'm going to do public
That's
work."
classic men.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
because
it
we
is.
don't know where we are going. We don't know our minds, and sometimes women can.
Or sometimes you just don't want to give out too much information.
Well, actually, no. As I
Would she have
said,
married you if you told her that I want to be a politician?
hopefully, because it should not be the career that should bring us together, bring us apart, but for the people that we are. But then she said that yeah, okay, fine. By the way, I really like this political series, uh, and you are. I was going to work on a farm in the US for 3-4 months, just to learn about how American NGOs work on rural livelihoods with animals and NGOs. So she introduced me to this series called The West Wing, which is actually shows politics in a very positive light, where all politicians are good politicians, where all political debate is about education and environment, and then and that kind of changed my view towards politics. So sometimes I said that had he not shown me that Netflix series, maybe I wouldn't have joined. But that's just a small story between us, and but she's very supportive otherwise.
But did she have any inkling that she'd be in the middle of this massive political storm where today, and it took you a while because you never really, and why I say that is her identity, her affiliations have become a political point, especially in Assam, which has been raised constantly, possibly every second press conference by the incumbent chief minister, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, of how she actually, and these are grave allegations, Mr. Gogoi, that she was part of the ISI, she was ISI trained, and it's all a Pakistan propaganda. You didn't say anything for a very long time. And I think the first press conference was after you became Assam Congress president. Would she have wanted you? What do you make of these allegations? Because these are, in the literal term and not just rhetoric, anti-national in nature.
Well, what would the BJP be without defamation and mudslinging? It's their bread and butter. Have they not cast aspersions on Congress politicians before? They've accused someone of murder. They've accused someone of being anti-national. This is bread and butter. Propaganda, smear campaigns, mudslinging, defamation, disregarding a woman's character is second nature. We go back and they've called a former Prime Minister Gungi Gudia. They've used terms like Jersey cow. They've used terms like 50 crore girlfriend. They use terms with colluding with Chinese Communist Party. So this is the nature of Indian politics, which is
But
extremely
your wife being labeled as an ISI agent, because that, whatever you make of it personally, but it has political implications in your state.
Well, I think people are smarter. Why negate the wisdom of people? Why negate that, journalists like you have, if there was some truth to this, would have uncovered by now. People are smarter, people are wiser. And I feel like, these are smear campaigns which kind of hide an insecurity, a deeper insecurity within the BJP. And in order to mask that, they do this smear campaigns. So I don't, of course, my wife and both my mother were people who were quite close to power. My mother was the wife of a chief minister for 15 years, but always stood away from public life. And that's what my wife likes to do also, which is to stand away from the public limelight. And she rather, do her job. She's a professional. She's a salaried professional. She's a well-respected person in her own professional community. So I think it's just being dragged into this public mudslinging is what no partner would like of a politician. But this is something that politicians and political partners and families of politicians have to face. And I'm glad my mother's here to kind of support both of us at this time.
So, what made you come out and then defend her after you became the Assam Congress president?
Uh, I would say I stated the facts, which were not there in the previous my briefings to the media, because there was a panchayat elections going on. There's all of this was going on,
Which you did very badly in.
which we did very badly in, which I agree. So as I said, during a panchayat election, we wanted our campaign, our party wanted our campaign not to be around these allegations which are focused on my personal life and my personal travel history from 14, 15 years ago, or where my wife was working, 12, 13 years ago. We wanted to focus on our issues, which is what the people of Assam face in their day-to-day life in the villages, because it's the panchayat elections. And if they wanted to focus on their issues, let them. And therefore, for us at least, it was a conscious strategy to not get into this tutu
The
meme.
personal
Yeah, tutu meme.
slugfest.
And then once the results are out, we knew this responsibility was coming on.
Right.
We laid
So-
out the facts.
But Mr. Gogoi, because the results were so unfavorable to your own political party, and was that the reason you realized that it had backfired if you not speaking out publicly and clearing the air, per se? Because the other side did go down, the wire with it.
Well, that's their choice. But when after the results, we visited different parts of Assam. My leaders visited different parts of Assam, and what we found actually was that the individual benefit schemes that any incumbent government gives to beneficiaries, especially women. This is an interesting trend that we are seeing, that come a panchayat election, when governments don't change, neither at the state nor at the center, an individual beneficiary getting monthly cash faces a greater risk of voting against the government, because immediately they face the threat of being left out of that monthly handout from the government in the next month. And I think that threat, that fear, worked to a far greater extent that we would have realized or predicted or assumed. And I think that's something that causes for concern, that if government officials are literally going around with party workers saying that, listen, the BJP government gave you your house, gave you your monthly cash handout, and if you vote somewhere else, it's going to go. Are we having a fair democratic election at the grassroots level or not? And I think that's what we felt. And as I said, this was an issue. We stated the facts. There's some imaginary 10 September, and they have their own story, some old kahini. And I said that, it looks like as if they're coming up with some C-grade Bollywood script, and people are not going to fall
But the sad
for
part
that.
is that Mr. Gogoi, sometimes C-grade Bollywood fiction cracks the box office. And an election, like you pointed out, could be because of policy decisions that you make, is also then bolstered with this other line of narrative. And you've stayed away from it. So,
But you know what? In fact, actually, I've thanked the chief minister,
why is that?
because he's just showed his insecurity. He's just exposed his cards. And I think that, by one of the reasons why the party gave me this responsibility, because he betrayed his insecurity. And I think that was one of his intentions, also the BJP's intention, which is to create some kind of doubt amongst my party leadership with respect to my future within state politics, given that elections are 10 months from now. And I'm quite grateful to my party leadership for backing me. And as I said, people, trust the wisdom of people. If there's one thing I learned from the last Jharkhand election, if there's one thing that I learned from from my Jorhat elections, that sometimes people are smarter than politicians.
Would you want to, maybe delve a little deeper into the charges that have been made by Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma on your wife, practically being an ISI agent, her working with Pakistan, you yourself going across Pakistan, and I think he's already pitched the coming election in 10 months as a fight between India and Pakistan. Now, you might find it funny, but you don't know what it tracks with.
Well, let me delve deeper into the ludicrous charges
Okay.
of this story, which is that he's saying as per the chief minister, that government of India, you know, there was an Indian citizen who went across the border 12, 13 years ago. We signed, got the stamp of the border police, went across the border. We got trained by ISI. Then we came back also, right? And we again gave a stamp. We said, yes, we've come back from Pakistan. And now I got elected, and I'm sitting in parliament for the last 10, 11 years, and they have no clue only. Either I'm the most brilliant agent, or we have one of the most, non-performing intelligence agencies. So these are, so what can I do if they want to focus on this?
Did
They
your
have,
wife work closely with Pakistan in any NGOs there or anything at all?
yes, she's a climate change professional. She worked on an international South Asia program, which had work in India, Nepal, and Pakistan. And she was in Pakistan between 2011 2012 for a year, and then was then moved to India in 2013, and in 15 joined a new NGO and has been working ever since.
So, what's the conversation back home when all of this is going on?
Well, the
The
conversation.
kids are too young to know so
Well,
much,
the
right?
kids are young, but in school everything news travels, right?
Oh, yeah.
So everything travels, rumors travels, allegations travel.
Have they been asked?
Well, I'm sure they've heard some version.
Have they asked you?
Yeah, they've asked me some version of it. It's something new for us, and we are learning how to deal with it as a family. And as I said, this comes in politics, and that's why you need to have a thick skin and a strong family.
Do you guys, your wife and you, still get that time out in midst of all of this? Do you have date nights?
Well, with young
It's
kids,
a very urban concept.
I think rather than going out for a date night or a dinner, I think she would rather have me come home and share the responsibility of looking after the kids.
Oh, Lord, it's
And that's what I would also like to do, which is to come and be a father.
She sounds quite tired of you, Mr. Gogoi.
I think she keeps me grounded.
She keeps you grounded. And with all these allegations that are, swirling all around you, I think you've got to give it to her then.
Absolutely.
With her as well, because it doesn't
Absolutely.
involve you; it involves her.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's a toughness that is there, and which I respect and admire.
Um, the last time she campaigned, and I was watching a small clip. She likes to keep private, but she campaigns for you, and it's difficult to find those one odd clips somewhere. She was speaking Assamese. She knows how to speak Assamese.
Well, she understands it.
Okay.
She took Assamese classes.
Okay.
After moving to India, she took both Hindi and Assamese classes. So far more fluent in Hindi, less fluent in Assam because she's not spending as much time in Assam as in Delhi. But she understands Assamese, and you just learn those one or two basic lines. But I think the last time she campaigned, I think it just took a toll on her, and I think that was back in 2018 maybe. I think we had panchayat elections then. I think that took a toll, and since then,
She wants to stay away from it all.
kind of. And now, as I said, with children,
Yeah.
there's far more important things to do.
Fair enough. Are you gonna, catch a break? It's summer vacation time for the kids. No breaks for you?
Well, now with elections 10 months away and haven't been given this new responsibility of the state president, unfortunately, no breaks for me. It's all hands on deck, and every day is important.
Oh Lord. Okay. So I think the BJP's made that happen. No breaks
Uh,
for any politicians. It's a 24/7 job.
Well, also, as I said, maybe I wouldn't have got this responsibility if they didn't start this smear campaign. So I'm quite grateful. I've publicly thanked the chief minister for giving so much time and attention to me.
Speaking of the chief minister, when he was part of the Congress, way back in 2013, there was one statement when he started pulling away from from the Congress, where he said that he knew he was getting weaker within the Congress, and the chief minister, your father, stopped liking him, is because Gaurav Gogoi entered politics. So once again, insinuating that it was going to be a family affair and he needed to step aside.
Which just shows his obsession since that day. He's just been using my name and creating false narratives around me ever since my first entry into politics. I mean, knowing my father, he would be the first person to oppose my rise in my party. And he's often said that in public also, that if anybody promotes uh, my son into party before he's ready, I'll be the first one to oppose him. And again, that's my values. And everybody who knows my father knows that. In fact, if anybody was the natural successor, it was him. But again, just to mask the investigations that was going around at that time with Sharda, with Louis Berger, that he had to appear in the CBI court in Calcutta. There were arrests. The BJP was, you know, publishing a booklet saying that the first person to arrest would be him once we come to power. So just to mask that he had to compromise politically, ideologically, which is not the first time. Also, he started from regional politics, and then he was in a tough situation, and that's why he left regional politics to get into Congress, and again found himself in a sticky situation and had to go to the BJP. But I become a narrative for him to wield. But as I said, that's since then, to the way my constituency got delimited, to the way they all camped in Jorhat, the amount of money they spent, to this. For me, to hear these kind of false narratives from the mouth of the chief minister is nothing new, and I know how to face it.
How was your relationship with him then when he was part of your party?
Nothing. I respect all my seniors. I looked upon him as someone who's a rising star within Assam Congress. I looked upon him as someone that my father defended despite everybody being against him. And I, wanted to learn. That was my initial days into politics. And I wanted to learn from everybody. I wanted to even shadow him. And I would often say that, listen, I want to travel to your constituency to see what kind of work that you've done. Because I just said I want to learn. And what I felt from my days of working in grassroots, with grassroots NGO, there's no better way of learning
You
than
had no problem working under him as chief minister, if he had ever.
Well, if he is dynamic, if he's progressive, and he would remain a staunch Congress secular politician, who knows where he would have been. But and this is where I credit Mr. Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, because there was a time when there was a split within the party, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi had to make a choice between supporting a statesman like Tarun Gogoi ji and a politician like Himanta Biswa Sarma. And at that time, I think Rahul Gandhi ji made the right choice. And we all see Himanta Biswa Sarma for his words, for his actions. And there's no inch of any real Congress ideology in him. I think he's a man who can only stay in power because he's done so many crimes. He can't stay outside of power. And therefore, he's ideologically bankrupt and flexible. And tomorrow, if the BJP leaves power, he'll be the first one to ditch them and join whichever party is in power.
Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma says that, see, there was a point because that I had made in 2013 that I was practically sidelined with the coming in of Mr. Gaurav Gogoi into politics. And on a flight last month, I was sitting next to the then Congress president who you took over from, Mr. Bhupen Bora. And I told him that within 1 month, you're going to lose your presidentship of the Congress. And at that time, as per Mr. Sarma, Mr. Bora had laughed and said, that's not happening. But then he said, I predicted it, see it happen.
Well, maybe he has a crystal ball, and therefore even now that's why he's getting scared. But for me, Preeti, I started my career in the Congress party first as a media panelist. I used to go on TV shows and defend my party. And I understood that TV debates were something, had become much more hostile, and, it took something for me to learn. From a media panelist, I became a spokesperson within the party. My first job was in the organizational work was as a AICC screening member in the elections of Himachal Pradesh and Karnataka, or AICC observer if there was a caste-based violence in Rajasthan. From there, my party promoted me to being the AICC in charge of West Bengal, of Andaman. Within the party, I was merely a whip. And then subsequently, they've elevated me to CWC member and a deputy leader. So that was my trajectory ever since 2013-14. As I said, in the state of Assam, I was very much a constituency politician. I really wanted to understand and work with my constituency. I would not even go out of my constituency. So, you know, that's his version. As I
What's Mr.
said,
Bhupen Bora's version?
well, what Bhupen Bora has recently said that, and I first of all, I've thanked him many times for his leadership in the last 4 years. He's taken when they first took on the mantle of party president, he broke off the ties with AIUDF. Congress largely had avoided tying up with AIUDF, Maulana Ajmal Saab's party. But in 2021, we had tied up with AIUDF. And then ever since he took over, he just broke off the alliance. I supported him. And since then, when Rahul Gandhi started his yatra from Kanyakumari, we did our own yatra and we did very well. So I think he's fulfilled the responsibility of state party president very well, and I've thanked him. And he's also been very supportive, and he said that we'll all be working together, and that's our goal. Our goal is to work towards the next state elections, because people of Assam don't want to live in an atmosphere of fear, insecurity, corruption, and intimidation. And I think it's our responsibility is to, bring back democracy, the right to criticize, the freedom of speech, and create that sense of hope that is so much needed.
The AIUDF and Mr. Ajmal says neither Hindus will vote for you, and he, I think, was looking at some visuals of you participating in some Eid functions, nor will Muslims.
Oh, that's his.
His
He's welcome to say what he has. I someone who really likes going to different religious places and observing the norms, which is at that religious place.
Are you religious?
I am religious. I am also spiritual. I pray regularly, and
To
I
whom?
said to everyone, as I said, I growing up, for some reason, I would, I don't know where that comes from, but I would pray to Guru Nanak Sahab. I would, pray to, to go to a church, because essentially the prayer is the same, which is to be a better person, which is to have a better world. And it's only the form which is changing. But I would love to go to, Guru Bangla Sahib Gurdwara, the Sacred Heart Cathedral, go to Kalibari Mandir near Gold Market, or go to a mosque in Assam. So that's who I am. And again, people of Assam, I'm transparent, and it's for people of Assam to decide. I'm not going to change my beliefs as per the leader of some political party, and I don't need their certificate.
Are you more spiritual than religious?
Can't say. Maybe, maybe not. I've done Vipassana. I've stayed in an ashram in Rishikesh.
I think Vipassana is overrated. Do you think it worked for you?
For different strokes for different folks, right?
What worked for you?
It did.
It did?
Yeah. I mean, I tried Reiki first. Reiki didn't work.
Didn't work.
Reiki didn't work. Vipassana did.
Vipassana.
And I've done all other forms of, because the kind of work that I was doing in my previous NGO was leadership work. And leadership work is all about personality and, bringing out the best of yourself, and therefore overcoming your own.
So you believe in a higher being?
Absolutely. I do
Yeah?
believe in a
Does the
divine
higher
being.
is the higher being male or female?
Why does it have to
I'm
have a
asking.
gender? It's a power.
Usually, it's a power.
Absolutely.
No God per se you look at.
No, again, the God is the form through which you worship that, is the ritual, and it's the form. But there is a higher being, because essentially the prayer doesn't change,
When was the last religious, it could be anything. It could be a function or a prayer or a moment that you had, which wasn't spiritual, but religious in nature.
Well, just 3 days ago, I took charge as state president in Guwahati, and I went to Mahakamakya Mandir.
Yeah.
And it was the both the reception from the local temple priests and the kind of power that you feel when you go to Mahakamakya is just there's something there. I go to certain temples and they offer you either a ring or some vibhuti or a cloth, a sacred cloth. And if I find that I've connected to that, I hold on to it and I keep it with
The
with
thread
myself.
that you're wearing on your hand?
This thread comes from an ethnic group in Assam. It's the Moran community, and they have their own priests. They have their own ritual. And I visited that priest, head priest, um, let's say maybe a few weeks ago. My father was like that also. Before going to cast his vote, he would, he would go to a church, a gurdwara, a temple, and a mosque. And therefore, when I remember when during his funeral rites, we did the same, followed the same ceremony. When we took his dead body to the funeral pyre, before that, we took the body to an Assamese a temple or a namghar, is what we say, to a temple, to a church, to a mosque, and then we took the body to the final crematorium.
Is it too personal to ask you? Because, there's always that one moment before you say goodbye. It could be anything, Is it too personal to ask you that moment with your father?
Well, he was suffering from COVID, and then doctors tried valiantly for 2.5 months, and I think at one point they had to give up. And I think that's when you see the body, but and the spirit is slowly fading, is when I said goodbye.
Anything else? Was there a
I
promise you made? Was there anything that you said to him?
well
Or you gave
before
him permission to leave?
I didn't give him permission. I thanked him
You thanked him.
for being a father. But before any tough moment, I remember him. I think remembering him gives me courage and strength, and I saw the most powerful had the most powerful experience of that, which is right before I gave the no confidence speech on Manipur inside Parliament. I was initially told I was going to be the second speaker, and then 10 minutes before, I was told I was the first speaker. So I walked inside the Parliament. It was all packed. 10 minutes ago, I was relaxed. Now I'm like going to give one of the biggest speeches on behalf of the India Alliance. Everybody's there except for the Prime Minister. And you literally had like, I wouldn't say butterflies in your stomach. You had like like elephants walking around in your stomach. And took a moment to remember him, took a moment to remember God, and then went on to partake in a life-changing moment for me.
Do you think there's a fair amount of criticism? Do you think Rahul Gandhi's speeches in Parliament could be better prepared?
I think what he's saying, uh, if people go beyond the form and listen to what he's saying, there's so much constructive discussion that can happen, which would be good for our country. I mean, he was talking about in his last speech in Parliament about the importance of drones, and we've seen that in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We saw that in the India-Pakistan conflict. So there's just so much. I mean, when I hear his speeches, the kind, what the themes that he lay out. I mean, look at the fact that government of India is doing the caste census right now. Look at the fact that government of India is talking about the constitution right now. Prime Minister Modi ji bows down to the constitution. So I think there are some very powerful themes which speak at a much deeper level to those sections of society who feel underrepresented, who feel that they are not being given a space in today's India. And he's speaking to their aspirations and anxieties, and he's speaking to them and championing them. And he's speaking of an alternative economic model of India, which is not dominated by monopolies, but is far more decentralized. Wealth is decentralized. And I think it's a very powerful subjects and themes which need constructive debate and discussion so that we can course correct the path on which India is.
Mr. Gogoi, I admit with what you're saying, great themes, but do you admit that themes don't make great speeches on the floor of the Parliament? You need to have a little more research. Do you agree, or do you think you just cannot criticize Mr. Rahul Gandhi?
I think the ideas are the most powerful element of a speech.
You
Yeah,
work,
I might say the most fanciest of things, but there's nothing deeper than I'm just putting on makeup, right? And I might say some of the most most deepest, thought-provoking things, and I might just lay out in a very simple, plain-spoken fashion. My father used to speak like that. He used to speak about climate change as if as if there were two people sitting on a charpai somewhere. And I think that's what's important. I think some people in today's 20-second reels prefer form over content. I'm someone who prefers content over form.
Okay, you work very closely with Mr. Gandhi, usually in Parliament. What's really nice to eat in Parliament?
In this parliament,
Yeah, the new one.
the chart.
The chaat. What is the
My
chaat?
favorite is the bhalla papri chart.
How much do you pay for it?
30 rupees maybe.
That's it.
Yeah.
30
that's
rupees.
30 rupees.
And that's your bhalla papri.
Bhalla papri.
That's the nice one.
That's the easy go-to snack. That's the comfort food that I need. I think that comes from having grown up in Delhi. And you want just something light. It's the bhalla papri chaat.
The bhalla papri chaat. Okay. No, what I'm saying is you work very closely with Rahul Gandhi. And I want to ask you this. A lot of leaders who have quit the Congress have come out and said that there's just no access. That do you need an appointment to speak to Mr. Gandhi? I'm asking you.
Well, of course. Why won't you need an appointment?
You can't pick up I pick up the phone and message my boss. That's what I do.
Yes,
Can you message him?
but if he's busy,
For a message.
I mean, if your boss is in a meeting, he's not going to answer you straight away, right?
So you don't get straight away answers.
And do you want to? Can you convey everything that you want in a message? Don't you want to meet in person and therefore seek time? So I don't know what they're talking about.
So
Are they saying that they've never met him?
no.
That
So
they-
if Mr. Gogoi wants an audience with Rahul Gandhi,
you seek an appointment, and
how
you
long?
meet.
When is that appointment granted usually?
More importantly, some of those people who have made these stories are the people who have the greatest access, who have spent some of the most amount of time.
You're not telling me.
So for-
do
for-
you get the access or not?
So, I mean, let's start from where the story emanates from,
Okay.
right? So, for them to say that, there's problem of access, I mean, come on. You have all,
Who are you talking about?
whoever you've
No,
thought about,
No. You tell me who am I thinking?
whoever
about?
you've thought about.
No. You tell
So,
me. Okay.
but because it's not the person, it's the narrative, right? So the people who make these stories are some who have spent the greatest amount of time. So for them to say that it's because of this that I'm leaving, sorry, it just doesn't cut anything with me. I don't. I think it's come up, be a bit more transparent.
So I'll ask you again. So if you wanted an appointment with Mr. Gandhi today, when will you get it?
We are, because if it's anything related to Parliament, and if it's not in Parliament, we communicate over WhatsApp.
Okay, but so
I just met him a few days ago because he was meeting the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand. So I just accompanied him to that. So again,
if you want to
Preeti,
seek a meeting with him and say that things are not like, it's just hypothetical, that things are not going too well between my 3 working presidents. I need to sort this out ASAP. In the next a week or two. Will you get an appointment in a week or two?
yes, but why am I going to him? Why am I not trying to sort out with those who are responsible for the state of Assam?
Is that the diktat from Mr. Gandhi?
No, there is a flow. Right? There's a flow. If you have a problem in Chennai, in your studio, you would speak to the Chennai head. Why would you speak to Mr. Proprietor of India Today?
Because there's so many things that sometimes get lost in translation. So it's very cool because sometimes I can actually pick up the phone and speak to my boss and tell her that, this is the issue and in 2 hours it's sorted. If all the red tapeism is cut.
Well, as I said, if that nature, right, you also know that your boss's time is important.
Of course.
And you would only escalate an issue if you at your level have not been able to solve it at your own level. And that's only then you would escalate it. You would not say that, a camera set up near, would you call your boss for that? No, you wouldn't. You would solve the situation yourself. That's what that's what you've been given the responsibility of. You would, your boss is not there to solve your problems all the time. Your boss expects you to solve your own problems and solve other people's problems. So I think
So accessibility is not an issue as per you.
accessibility is not an issue. As I said, this question of accessibility is bogus. Right.
So what's an issue? There has to be some issue, Mr. Gogoi. I'll tell you 3 issues within my organization.
You tell me.
Huh?
Bolo.
First, you tell me.
अरे
No,
आप बोलो, you just तुमने ऑफर किया, बोलो.
three issues that are within my organization.
हाँ,
There
बोलो.
are they can be so many. We could do better planning. We could do in terms of news gathering. We could be quicker with that. We could be quicker with communication. Because we have so many verticals. But we accept it. We accept that we have so many verticals, and there has to be better synergy between them. And we are working towards putting it all together.
मेरी भी वही है.
Which is what?
Better planning, quicker, more coordination.
You can't copy my. You
But मेरी यही है.
Nothing to do with the. Okay. Tell me
My
something. Yeah.
thing, and I've said this at various levels, is better planning for elections, state elections. I always if
So you agree you're not planned?
let me complete.
Okay.
If I am
Sorry.
a candidate for my own election, I start my preparation year and a half ago or 2 years ago, right? That's early planning. You do some initial scoping and serving, and sometimes I feel that we don't plan for our state elections earlier. Our planning needs to be much earlier than where it is right now. And agree what you second said, that things need to be quicker. Sometimes, decisions need to be quicker. What can be done in a day sometimes takes a week, because I understand it's a big organization. And like you said, there are many verticals. We also have many verticals: youth wing, Mahila wing, professional wing, lawyers wing. And, we all need to be much more synergetic, especially in era of technology. We need to make sure that information flows and decisions flow, and therefore we present a much more synergized version of what we're trying to say.
Are you also of the opinion that Priyanka Gandhi needs to take a bigger role, or it's all fine the way it is?
I think her role is very big already. I mean, she, and her role keeps getting escalated. I think, we hadn't seen Priyanka Gandhi ji as the parliamentarian, and we've seen that. And I think just being in parliament just elevates what you have to say to a different level. Like, I might say the same thing in a public rally, but somehow in parliament, maybe because of Sunset TV, the way it goes onto YouTube and therefore it goes into people's mobile phones, it just reaches people's mobiles much more. So people in Assam have seen my speeches, or would have seen her speeches, but they would not have seen my speeches at a political rally. So I think her role as a new parliamentarian has just elevated herself, and thereby elevated the subjects and elevated our party also.
Talking about the parliament, what's it like being in parliament?
It's deeply humbling, because there have been such great personalities who've walked through that corridors. B is that you are able to have a very combative debate, and then break for a cup of tea to kind of let go of that combativeness and talk to people across the aisle. And 3 is that sense of responsibility, because what you say will be watched by people in your state, in your constituency.
Because this is also so. In terms of camaraderie, who's the friendliest from the treasury benches?
The friendliest from the treasury benches?
Yeah.
Well, I think our speaker is very friendly. When he's trying to sort out something between the two parties, and we are, I think he does sometimes try.
Who's the most likable?
Who's the most likable?
From the treasury benches.
From the treasury benches. Well, for me personally, somebody who I miss and deeply respected was Susma ji and Arun ji. I think as a young parliamentarian, we looked up to them, and they would often, just tell us. And so I remember Arun ji once telling me that, अब तो तुम डेप्यूटी लीडर हो, तुम क्यों वेल में आ रहे हो, तुम क्यों चिल्ला रहे हो, ये पेपर वेपर मत फाड़ो, तुम ये सब मत करो. So, and then I remember somebody senior like SS Ahluwalia ji, who was with us, and he would say, मैं भी जब जवान था, मैं भी आप तुम्हारी तरह चिल्लाता था. So, I mean, it's hard to rate someone and say most, but when you say these are the most recent things that come to my mind.
And the current lot who are still around, who was the most likable?
Current, I think SS Ahluwalia ji is still there.
So only SS Ahluwalia, or?
Well, I think that's the last. I mean, I think we were on a flight together, and just yesterday, coming from Guwahati to Delhi, I met spokesperson Nalil Kohli, and he represents Assam on legal matters, and we have a chat, because we often come to the same studios. Yes, as I said, we can leave the combativeness of the debate and get to know each other's families. Again, these are very, I mean, you can't rate someone
Okay,
as
give me one
vicious.
or two.
As I said, there's no
Who do you
viciousness.
dislike the most? No
There's
one.
no dislike. There's a combative, there's a
Okay,
professional
who's most
respect.
combative?
Who's most combative? I think in the current lot, I think when the Union Home Minister speaks, I think he always, gives a very combative, uh, um, a very combative display of his party's positioning.
But those are well researched speeches.
I'm not taking away from that. I think
Okay.
I'm not taking away from the research or the. I agree they are well researched, well informed, and one of the most combative personalities on the other side.
Who's the most fun from your own party? Who do you have the most fun with?
Again, I mean, this just again, it's just
Okay, name a few if
rate.
there's not one.
No, I mean, I like working with everyone. I think, I like talking to everyone. I like talking to people from Rajasthan, from Kerala, and I'm the deputy leader right now. If I want to say that who's my favorite, I think you'll put me in a pickle in the next monsoon
Okay,
session.
who's got the best sense of humor?
Who's got the best sense
Yeah,
of
from
humor?
your side.
I think Mr. Gandhi has a very good sense of humor, which
Really?
often doesn't come to display.
Yeah. So, like, are you guys cracking jokes when you're sitting next to each other?
I think he has a good sense of humor and he can come up and sometimes maybe a slightly wicked sense of humor. And, he has his own jokes to say.
All right. Over the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to ask you. Now you have you're going into elections in the next 10 months. So, okay, talking about Assam, what do you like doing in Assam?
What I like doing?
Yeah, when you are home,
I really like campaigning.
you like campaigning.
I like campaigning. I like traveling. I like going to new places. As I said, the best way is to travel, right? Whether in your personal life or in your work. I think so. I love to travel to see different parts of Assam, to see what that future of that village or that town would look like, maybe 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Identify the problems, meet the people also. Just get outside of the bubble of your own party and meet ordinary people. Listen to their feedback, positive or constructive. And food. I think Assam has some tremendous, fantastic food, and different parts of Assam has different cuisines. And I look forward. Sometimes I'm very finical about my programming schedule, but I'm even more fastidious about what my lunch timings are and what's being served for
What do you
lunch.
like for lunch? Usually, like
Well,
if it was a perfect lunch, what would it be?
Well, it depends on which part of Assam I am in, right?
Which
In
which
some
part?
part, there is the fish is great. In some
Okay,
part,
tell
the
me
duck is great. In some part, the pork is great.
because this is the afternoon, and if we were finishing this interview, and from one part of Assam, what are you craving today? What would be your lunch?
Well, I think fish. I think Lower Assam in Borpeta, you just get fantastic fish. Actually, I just came back from Silchar, and those who are Bengali would know the Hilsa fish. I'm a big fan of Hilsa fish as well.
That's a
And
Bengali
especially,
Hindu pitch, right there.
but that's the observation from a political journalist. No
Right.
foodie would ever think about that. But those who are foodies would, yeah, like, Ilish Mash with the mustard curry is just perfect.
So that would be for lunch.
That's what I had 2
And
days
you want
ago,
to,
and
I'm sure you.
that's the flavor which remains with me till now.
Well, let's hope politically that's the flavor that remains with you 10 months from now, because that's a flavor that you are missing, I think, in your current
Well,
thali.
as I said, the Congress party is for all, through thick and thin. We don't compromise. If any community feels that they've been unfairly treated, we've stood. I mean, especially if you're talking about the Bengali Hindu community, nobody has stood with them as much as late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji has. So we stand with all communities who are unfairly treated, no matter what religion they are. And if it's at the cost of elections, so be it. I'm of the view that one shouldn't compromise on your core values.
If I'm traveling to Assam and I'm trying, there are a lot of, like, because a lot of people now are traveling to the Northeast. Give me a couple of places which are not on the tourist map, which one must go to.
Well, I would say that if you're taking out the time to travel to the Northeast, why restrict yourself to one state? Go visit two.
True.
So go combine Assam with Meghalaya or combine Assam with Arunachal. Because the common view that people have of the Northeast is hills. And Assam is not hilly. Assam is a river valley.
True.
And therefore, one can't go to the Northeast and not experience the hills. I mean, I love going to Uttarakhand and Himachal. And there is there's a Punjabi in me and the thoda bahut pahadi bhi hai. So, if you're going, you have to either see the peaks of Arunachal, Tawang, or see the beauty of the hills in Meghalaya, along with Assam. So that would be my only recommendation.
Do you think the Northeast is better integrated with India, especially under the BJP? That you'd agree with, right?
I don't think
No?
so. I think I don't know why would you ask me that question. We have a divided Manipur. Uh, uh, you know, we we have an unstable.
Infrastructure. No?
I
Can't
mean,
deny that.
you would always place, given our history, peace and harmony over anything. We've lost development 20 years because there was no harmony between different communities. Manipur today has been pushed back by 15 years. I feel as a Northeast that so much injustice has been done and everything is being hidden under this development. Manipur has just been pushed back 15 years. What is development without human lives being at the center of it? And the humanity of Manipur have been devastated. Floods is something that Assam faces every year, and also people in Bihar. We have not come up with something tremendous for floods. Floods every year pushes people back into poverty. We have an unstable border now with Bangladesh. We've always have hostility with China. So there is a greater influx greater influx of smuggled goods from Myanmar, especially drugs and supari. I'm actually I feel we are at a very precarious situation right now. We are in a very precarious environment on our international front. A lot of attention is given to the western side of Indian border. I think we are now extremely volatile given the situation in Myanmar, Bangladesh, and China on India's eastern front as well.
Do you think the racism is better where the Northeastern India is concerned?
I
The
think we.
mainland, because it's always India and the Northeast.
I don't think so. There is no better racism.
Is it? Yeah, yeah.
It's
You're
still
right.
it's still
there.
it still
Are things
exists.
better though? No.
I don't think so. I just had a chat with a couple of young university students who are from the Northeast, who are studying in Delhi. And if you hear what their concerns are, you could go back 20 years, and you would be transported back in time. So it's the same, but I think the young people of Northeast are far more confident, and they're instead of hiding their identity, hiding their food, hiding their fashion sense, now they wear it on their sleeve, like it or leave it. And I think that's what I like, because I often tell people that one should not seek pity. We are proud of our heritage. We are as Indians as anyone. We will show our heritage and we will show our Indianness through our work. So be it Mary Kom, Mirabai Chanu, or someone who is in the film world, or me sitting inside Parliament, we'll show ourselves through our merit and not seek for pity.
Last two questions, Mr. Gogoi. In 1986, your father was requested by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi to try and rebuild the party. You find yourself in a similar role today with Mr. Rahul Gandhi?
Yes, I do.
You do.
I think we are in a tough spot given the panchayat elections. We did well in certain Lok Sabha seats and not. And I think there is a great responsibility for me to strengthen the party, and through strengthening the party, help the people of Assam live in an environment of peace, harmony, where they feel they have the freedom to express themselves and they have the right to criticize even us without fear of retribution.
All right. So, from where you come from is Assam, where I come from is actually Haryana. And if one need to integrate, we're trying to integrate a segment where we trade what could be, let's say, acceptable and PG-13 cuss word that you would exchange in
Yeah.
in Assamese, and I'll
Yeah.
give you one in Haryanvi.
Yeah,
Which
we-
one would it be in Assamese?
we are not
but it
doing-
has to be on. It should pass the on-air test.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can pass the honor test.
You can't. It's that bad, huh?
It's not that bad. I only know the bad one.
Then what's the problem?
So that's why I can't say it on air.
You can't say it on air. Okay, we're going to leave it at be, but we shake on that. Appreciate you joining us.
But I'm happy to learn from Maria.
No, it only comes when if you give me one. So I'll give you another attempt.
No, thanks.
No? Okay. All right, but then thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav Gogoi, for joining us.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
been
you
a
for having
pleasure.
me. Thank you so much.
And good luck. Let's
Thank
see
you.
how it goes
And
in
wish
the
you the
next
best
10
with your
months.
show also.
Thank you. Thank you so much.